Right, in a previous lesson, we were looking at two types of data. We spoke about primary data, and we also spoke about secondary data. We were considering 30 students in a class, and we were wondering whether boys are better in maths than girls in that class. So we say that there are two ways you can collect the data. So there are test scores to be able to compare them. So you need to know their results, so test scores. And there are two ways to collect that. Number one is to use primary data, whereby you give them the test, make up a test, give it to them, and then mark it, and then see what the scores are. So that was primary. You did it yourself. The other one was secondary data, whereby you just go to the computer, ask their teacher, and they just print out some results for the test they had done previously. Okay, so those were two types of data we spoke about. But today we're going to be learning how to collect data. Okay, so how are you going to be collecting data? It's going to be about the method now we're going to be focusing on. Okay, right. So what I want you to do is to basically try question 5 all the way to question 9. For question for each of these questions, I want you to look at part 1, which says describe what data is needed. So you need to say what data is needed and suggest a suitable method for collecting it. Then the next part is to say whether the data will be primary or secondary data. So let's look at question 5 together before you try 6, 7, 8, and 9. Nikita wants to know what the girls in her class think about school dinners. So Nikita wants to know what the girls in her class think about school dinners. Maybe they like the school dinners, or maybe they don't like the school dinners. So Nikita wants to find out this. So describe what data is needed. Okay, so the first data that is needed here would be the some questions on school dinner. Say, for example, the types of school dinners that they're having. So maybe the sandwiches, the chips, or anything. So some questions about the school dinners and whether the girls like it or not. Okay, so she's going to have a questionnaire. She can design a questionnaire with questions like, do you like school dinners? Yes or no? Or maybe, asking them how they feel about the school dinner, with maybe a number like 10 being that they really like school dinner, and a number like 0 meaning that they really hate it. Okay, so a questionnaire with questions about school dinners, basically. So that's the set of information she's going to need. So questions and answers about school dinners. So that's what she will need. Then the next thing, suggest a suitable method for collecting this. So we've said that the information she will need here is basically answers about how the students, the girls, think, or how they feel about the school dinners, whether they like the school dinners or not. So questions, then answers. How is she going to do this? She can design a questionnaire and give it to the girls, and then they can basically just answer it for her. Now, this data here she's going to collect would be primary, because she's designing the questionnaire herself. She's giving it to the girls, and then she's analyzing that data. Okay, so that's how to do this. I would like you to pause question 6, pause the video, and try question 6, 7, 8, and 9 by yourself. Right, so I hope you try that. So let's go over question 6 together. It says, Dan wants to find the most common color of car passing his house in a 30-minute interval. Okay, so he's interested in knowing the colors of cars that are passing his house every 30 minutes. Okay, passing by his house every 30 minutes. So describe what data is needed here. So what types of data is going to be needed here? So the data would be basically the colors of cars that are passing by. Okay, so you can have, like, say, for example, a tally chart, whereby this will be the cars, and you can have something like red cars, you can have something like maybe pink cars, and all you need to do is basically just to tally them. Yeah, just tally them. That's all you need to do, and so forth. Okay, so the information you need, the data would be the colors of cars, that are passing by his house. Okay. Now, then part 2 says, now suggest a suitable method for collecting it. So he will stand by his house, and he will just tally the cars as they come, and he would have like a tally chart like this. And all we need to do is just to tally them as they pass. So if you see red, tally it. If you see a pink, tally it. If you see a white, just tally it. Okay, so that's all you need to do. Okay. Now let's go to question 8. It says question 7. Anne wants to compare the daily rainfall in London and Manchester last August. So he wants to compare this. So he wants to say, okay, between London and Manchester, which city had most rainfall? So what set of data will he have here? The data will be the amount of rainfall falling in London and Manchester in the month of August. So it could be daily amount of rainfall falling in London and also in Manchester. So that's the information it's going to need. Okay. Now, suggest a suitable method for collecting this. Now, this is something you can get, Anne can get from the internet, or from the government offices. So that's where you can get this. So that's just going to be that, and that will then be secondary data for her. Okay. Question 8. Rohan wants to test his theory that the boys in his class can throw a ball farther than the girls. In other words, that the boys are better than girls in throwing this ball. So what information will he need? So the information here will be the length, of the distance that the boys and the girls are throwing the ball. So if a boy is standing somewhere and is throwing the ball, Rohan will need to know how far away the ball has dropped from where the boy is or from where the girl is. Yeah, so it's going to be the length, the distance the ball has fallen from where the boy or the girl is. Okay. Now, how is he going to do that? He's going to get a boy or a girl to stand somewhere with a ball, and they're just going to throw it. And all Rohan will need to do is to measure that distance. Now, the ball will have to be identical. You have the same ball. Okay, so then it's fair. Okay, so hope you get that. So what I'm going to do now is to just show you the answers, how you would word them to get full marks in exam. So question 5 says data needed is that the girls answers to some questions about school dinners, like I said earlier. And the method of collection would be Nikita could ask all the girls in her class to fill a questionnaire. So that was question 5. Now question 6 is about the colors of cars. The data needed would be the colors of cars passing Dan's house in 30-minute interval. And how would Dan collect this? He could observe cars passing his house and note the color of each car in a tally chart. Again, he's using the tally chart. And this will be primary data. Okay. Now, number 7, the data needed would be daily rainfall figures for London and Manchester for last August. And how she's going to do this is to collect the information from the internet. Okay, and this will be secondary data. Now, the last one is question 8. The data needed is the distance an identical ball can be thrown by the boys and girls in his class. The method of collection would be Rohan could ask everyone in the class to throw the same ball as far as they can. He could then measure the distances and record them in a table, along with whether each thrower was a male or a female. And this would be primary data. Okay. And then number 9, the information is just there. If you just want to read that and then compare to your answer. So pause the video, look at the answers for question 9. Okay, well done.